Hi, my village folks. It's your girl Narisse, and I'm back like I said I'd be on here to discuss part two of Apple Music's 100 Best Albums list because we love music over here, so we talk music if we're not doing music. So here we are. And last time I thought I was going to be able to do the full list, but it just wasn't going to be that. I'm like, oh, it should be about like an hour. And I'm like, realistically, and just how in depth I go when it comes to albums and the Sonics and the things that I love about it. Um, I was like, okay, you know what? And it was like already becoming like 2 hours long at that point. And mind you, I wasn't even like super long winded in the beginning. Y'all know how I can get into my talks and my tangents in my live streams before actually getting to the task at hand. But, I just did a quick update about like what I was doing creatively. And then, we jumped right in. And even still, I would say I spent maybe about like an hour and a half just talking about 100 to 75. And so from that point, I was like, okay, well, we'll just break this up into sections of 25 because I was like, should I do sections of 10? But I'm like, then I would have to do 10 different live streams. And I really didn't want to do all that. So I'm like, okay, I know I can at least get this done in 4 live streams. And I'm like, I already started. So we're going to finish it, you know? I try to have that approach for most of my projects. And it's not that projects aren't finished. It's just they're on standby, but things will be finished. Talking about divine video, but that's beside the point. Anyway, so we are back talking about albums 74 to 50. Now I know technically that would be 24 because I was supposed to stop at 76. So technically 25 would be 75 to 50. But I literally figured out that math in the midst of doing the video. So I got it figured out now. So we just have one less album for this video. And, luckily I don't know all the albums, so it makes my life easier. Um, so yeah, without further ado, I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right into this thing and we will finish breaking down the list. So, okay, there we go. All right. So, and you know what? I don't need to look at the list. Well, actually, no, I do need to scroll. Okay, so that's 100. All right. So we stopped at Missy Elliott. All right, so 74 is Nine Inch Nails, Downward Spiral. Now, I'm familiar with the band. I don't really listen to their music like that, so I'm going to skip this. Steely Dan, Aja, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. Also, I've seen this album before. I know this album is in my house. um, and I thought that was interesting because I'm familiar with Steely Dan. Not a whole lot. I know like one of his songs that I think was on Guitar Hero, but I'm not familiar, so we're gonna skip that as well. All right, jumping right into SOS. Now I know I briefly kind of talked about SOS in the last live stream and my TikTok video, which is what kind of like snowballed me even considering doing a full breakdown. So I'll try not to like, you know, be too long winded on this. So I made a post on TikTok and on YouTube Shorts, same post, basically saying, I'm surprised that SOS is on this list rather than Control because Control, I mean, it's kind of like, it's a classic. I feel it's a classic. And, I think that album is what built the anticipation for SOS because everybody loved Control so much. They were so excited for SOS. Which brings me to another point that I want to talk about, not in this live stream, but I will talk about it maybe in another video. Just about the anticipation and the stress, or they often call it like the sophomore curse. When you have such a huge hit and success for your first album, and that anticipation for the second one. Cardi is going through that right now, and I feel like what reminded me of that in the last live stream, why I even went into my whole tangent about SOS, was Mary J. Blige's album My Life, because What's the 401 was like, a huge hit, and then it's that like stress about what that second album is going to be, and then she made My Life, which is amazing. They're both amazing. So I will say, although me personally giving my opinion because this is my platform, respectfully. And mind you, I enjoy SZA as an artist. I think she's a great writer. She has a really cool voice and a unique sound, and I like her vibe. And I love that her style of music slash R&B, alternative, whatever you want to classify her as. I'm glad that an artist like her has risen and elevated to a space in mainstream music the way that she has, because usually you don't see R&B music in the forefront like that. And it's just really dope to see. So, just to say that. Me personally, I enjoyed Control more than I enjoyed SOS. SOS has some great songs on there. There's a lot of songs on SOS, but I as a body of work, I enjoy Control a little bit more than SOS. But okay, so and I got into like not got into a debate, but I presented that as a conversation on TikTok, and some folks gave their opinions. Some people agreed with me and said, they love Control, and then some people were like, no, SOS is a better album, and this and that. And and people are entitled to their opinions, and that's why we have these discussions. My Angie baby wants to say hi. This is my fur baby. Angie, I'm working, but since you jumped up here, you can say hi to the people. She looked irritated, like she wasn't the one that just jumped up here. No, I have lip gloss on, so I can't kiss her. But because I'm like, I do not want to eat fur. But anyway, all right. Hi, Angie. Can you not nibble on me, please? Thank you. All right, so SOS we got 23 songs. My God, and mind you, there's some songs on here that I do really like. So, all right, let's get into it. So we got the SOS intro, Kill Bill, which was a huge hit. Seek and Destroy, Low. I like Low as a vibe. Love Language, I forget how that sounds. Blind, I actually really like Blind as a song, but I just personally don't want to listen to it a lot because manifestation. I like my eyes, I like to see. um, but it is, if it weren't lyrically what it is, then it's definitely one of those SZA songs that I would want to cover. Because sonically I really like it, and I think she did a really dope job performing it at SNL when she did. And that whole rollout, like that was just such smart marketing. Putting it out during a holiday season, even though it was a risk, but she was a big enough artist where she could be able to meet the demand, because there was a high anticipation and demand for her album, so it was not like it was going to flop. But for it to be holiday season, and holiday at SNL is usually like, because I think that's like the big episode before they go on break. And yeah, she was on SNL. I think she all performed as well as she was a part of the skits too, and hosting. So I didn't watch the full episode. I just saw some clips, and then the cuffing season song kind of went viral, which was really dope. But yeah, and then okay, so there's Use. I don't remember what that sounds like. Snooze is a vibe. And what I've realized about Snooze recently? So, Snooze is a really interesting song because it's simplistic sonically. Like there's not a lot going on with the melody and the backtrack, but it's like it's such a vibe and it's so catchy. And I was like, okay, what is it about this song that's like really cool? And I feel like it's one of the few songs that sounds like kind of like old school R&B, even though I wouldn't consider her like a traditional R&B artist. It feels old school. It feels like R&B. And you know why? If you listen to it, it kind of reminds me of Me, Myself, and I by Beyonce. Like, if you listen to the beat and the production, like just the flow and the melody, and it's not exactly the same, but it's similar in terms of like how the chord progression builds in the song. And also, Me, Myself, and I happens to be one of my favorite Beyonce songs. And what I really loved about that song was how R&B it was, because she, at that time, that was like her debut album. Dangerously in Love was out, and you got all the hit songs with Crazy in Love, Baby Boy, Naughty Girl, and they're upbeat dance songs for the most part. And then you have Me, Myself, and I, which is like more of like not a ballad, but it's more like it's a slower song, but it's still a vibe. But it's like it's that soulful R&B feel, especially like early 2000s. And that's what Snooze gives me. It gives me like Me, Myself, and I. Like, if you hear those songs back to back, they flow into each other really well. um and if DJs start mixing that, I said it here first. um but but yeah, that's what I really liked about Snooze. And I was like, what is it about this song that like it feels familiar, but it's like new and different at the same time. And I really like the vibe of it because it's so simple. Like, it's not a lot going on. It's not like you got like crazy bass lines and chord progressions, and I love all that. But sometimes less is more, and that's one of those songs where less is more. And I do really like Snooze as a record. And it's a huge song. It's still on radio. People still listen to it. So and I just did a cover of it, so when it comes out, be sure to check it out. And also a little shameless plug for me, because I cover like a million different SZA songs. But I did a cover of Gogina from Control years ago, and that video has like over 1,000 views, even though it came out a while ago. Which shout out to that. And so I maybe like what was it, last year? I think it was last year, either last year or the year before. I think it was last year when I did a cover of Good Days. It's almost at 100 views, and I would really love for it to reach 1,000, because I did a post recently, like the awkward black girl glow up. Because when I did my Gogina cover, I was just like, you know what? I don't want to care too much about a look. I just want to do this cover. And because it was so simple, I just like put on a color light, and then had my broken guitar because the tuning knob that was I got this like damaged at a pawn shop before I was able to get it fixed. And so I had to play only songs where there were muted A strings and that just happened to be one of them, because I did the version of that song from this girl Gracie. I forget her last name, but Gracie, I'll like tag her somewhere because I got the chord progressions from her. So shout out to her. Um, and she did a different version, but I kind of like slowed it down a bit. But I got the chords from her. But yeah, and I think the simplicity of that video is what people really liked. But I evolved as an artist since then, and built my like styling and directing, with my signature like cosmic background, and I elevated the look a bit. And then even with that song, I think that was one of the first covers where I challenged myself to add background vocals and harmonies and stuff like that. So, just overall, it was a glow up for me as an artist and as a creative, as well as like as a person, like, figuring out my swag and my style. Because at that time, it would go back and forth. Like, I'll have moments where I'll be like, "Oh, I'm killing it," and then I'll have moments where it's like, "Oh, girl, it's not really giving." And and what I was saying in the caption of that post was that the glow up isn't even necessarily like about beauty. Like, either version, like for anyone that's ever had that phase of feeling like the awkward black girl before you like really figured out your swag, you know, all versions of you are beautiful. It's just you glowing up to the version of you that's comfortable in your skin. And when you're confident in who you are and you've figured out your style, and like, okay, when I put this together like this makes me feel good about myself, and I like how this looks on me, and I feel comfortable and I feel beautiful and confident. Because I think there's nothing wrong with being awkward, but a lot of times you feel awkward because you feel out of place and you feel like you're not a version of yourself that you want to be, or you just feel like like in the background in a way. And honestly, I think that's why I resonate a lot with SZA's music, because I feel like just even her glow up as an artist, like when she first came out, like she kind of, she has that quirky black girl vibe, and and just to see her evolve in her look and her style, but just also as a creative, as an artist. And I feel like that's what makes her resonate so much with people in general, but for me personally, because I identify with that. And um and and most of her songs, like, I'm like, this feels like my life. But that's the case with a lot of songs, but that's beside the point. But yeah, so I just wanted to say that, put a little selfless plug in there. And so yeah, check out my Good Days cover, and Snooze, my cover of Snooze, which is a mashup between Snooze and Meet Me at Our Spot by The Anxiety, which is Willow and Tyler Cole. That should be coming out soon, so be on the lookout for that. Anyway, back to SOS. Gone Girl. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I've heard these songs maybe like once or twice. I think I listened through the album all the way through like two times while I was like cleaning. So like how I mentioned in my last live stream, you know how sometimes you put on an album while you're doing stuff, so you're not really paying attention to what song is on, but you're just kind of like listening for the vibes. That was kind of what I was doing when I listened to this album, and I just tried to like make note of the songs that stuck out to me, that I knew, okay, I like this song. So I'm not gonna lie, there's quite a few songs on here where I listened to it and it's not that I didn't like it, but it didn't wow me, you know like some of the other songs, like Snooze. Even though usually I would prefer B-sides more than the singles, just because I know we hear the singles all the time, but she has really good singles where I wouldn't mind listening to them. um so there's Conceited, Special, Too Late. Honestly, I gotta listen to this again because I don't remember how most of these songs sound. I remember liking Open Arms. Shirt was the song that we were waiting years for, because we heard that snippet at the end of, what song was that? Was it Good Days? At the end of Good Days, I believe. Because you know how when she first started rolling out those singles, when Hit Different came out, and then Good Days was featured at the end, and then Good Days came out, and I think it was Shirt at the end. And then when Shirt came out, Blind was at the end. So I thought that was really cool how she did her marketing like that, like teasing the next song or teasing another song that was on the album. That's a dope idea. I might consider doing that, and if I do, I'll already give the credit where credit is due, because I think that's a clever idea. Okay, but yeah, Shirt is a vibe. Even though I don't really listen to it a lot now, but when it was that snippet online and it went viral on TikTok, I was like, "Yo, we need this song," and it took forever to come out, but it's still a vibe. Open Arms is cool. I Hate You, I know that was really big on the radio. It wasn't my favorite song, but I get it. It's relatable. It's easy to sing along to, especially if you're just going through a breakup. Good Days, love that record. I think what's really cool about Good Days is that it reminds me of why I really like Control. Like, just that kind of whimsical production, very pretty melodies, like what we heard on like Supermodel and Drew Barrymore, and even Go Gina, even though the production is a little different, but just like that kind of like really pretty whimsical vibe. And yeah, so, and then Forgiveless. Okay, I don't think I remember how that song sounds. So yeah, I'm no lie, I'm gonna have to listen to this album again. But the only reason why I feel like I like Control better is because I remember when I listened to that album the first time, the songs caught me immediately, and that's usually how I'll like judge a song. Like, if I like it immediately, like off of first listen, then I know, like, okay, this, I really like this song. But certain, and then I know there's certain songs that grow on you, or like, you like certain songs for a period of time, and then you might skip this one song, and then you stumble upon that song later on and you realize, oh wait, hold on, this song is kind of fire. So that might happen to me when I listen to this again. But I know there, what I will say, like, that those first few listens, there weren't a whole lot of songs that like jumped out at me that were like, oh wait, this is a bop for me, aside from the songs that were already out. if I hadn't already heard Blind, Good Days, Shirt, and Snooze, then those would have been those songs for me because I do really like those songs and those were singles. So yeah, but shout out to SOS. Shout out to the success that it's been for SZA. She's selling out arenas and performing around the world. It's a vibe. Musically it's cool. And yeah, I think that's really dope. I love that for her. And and just to see her progression as an artist. So all right. Okay, next album, Trans Europe Express by Kraftwerk. I don't know who that band is. I've never heard of them. I don't know it. Shout out to y'all for making the list. Congrats. Um, if y'all know that group, band, person, maybe, um, let me know what songs you would recommend. Straight Outta Compton, NWA. Let's see. I don't remember exactly what's on this album. Okay, Straight Out Compton, F the Police, Gangsta Gangsta. Um, okay, I'm not gonna lie and sit up here and act like I listened to this whole album before. I have not, but I am familiar with NWA and Ice Cube, Eazy-E, DOC, Dr. Dre. Um, I apologize for forgetting the other guy. I know his name is just like slipping my mind right now. But I want to put respect on his name, so give me a second. Oh, see, this did not have to change to that. Okay, y'all can keep that screen. Okay, NWA. All right, let's just get all the members on here. MC Ren and DJ Yella. Okay, all right, yeah. I knew I was familiar. Okay, hold on. There's a lot more members on here than I remember. Arabian Prince and DJ Speed. Okay, shout out to y'all. Y'all made the list. A. um, yeah. So I'm familiar with Straight Outta Compton and how iconic F the Police was during that time. So yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I am familiar with the group, and I watched the Straight Outta Compton movie. It was amazing. The story is phenomenal. Shout out to them, legends. Okay, so we got Metallica, Master of Puppets. Now I've heard of, well, of course I've heard of Metallica. Um, Metallica is also another legendary classic band, but I've heard of songs from Metallica, but I can't tell you like what's on what album. So this album came out in 1986. I'm gonna see if there's any songs on here that I recognize because I think the songs that I know aren't on this album. Yeah, nah, I don't know. It's funny that Metallica and SOS, they both have songs called "Seek and Destroy." Um, yeah, I don't know any songs on here, but shout out to Metallica. The songs that I know are "One" and what's that other song by them? "Sandman" and "Sandman." I know those two songs, but I don't know the rest of them. So forgive me. The Strokes. I know this band and I know this album. I believe I haven't listened to it in a very long time, but back in the day, when me and a friend of mine used to exchange music, she put me onto this album. I would put her onto like more hip hop stuff, and she would put me on to alternative rock. And I believe this is one of the albums that she burned for me. Sorry, The Strokes. This is what we used to do back in the day. Um, and okay, so I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember all the songs on this particular project, but I do remember liking it though. But the songs that I do like from The Strokes were probably on a different album. Um, okay, I remember Reptilia. That's on Rome on Fire. So that's a different album. And I remember I knew that from Guitar Hero. So shout out to the Strokes, dope band. I don't listen to them enough, so I might have to like get back into my like alternative rock bag and re-listen to some of their things. But shout out to y'all, y'all made the list. Okay, Portishead, Dummy. Okay, I've heard of Portishead, I believe, because I feel like there's somebody that Dawn listens to. Because I remember she had a show or a segment on Adult Swim. Because I know she would do a lot of music on Adult Swim and some animation with them. And I remember she had a show where she would talk about different music and stuff. And I remember she mentioned liking Portishead and Bajork, and just like the really avant-garde, quirky, eclectic sounding artists. So I'm the name sounds familiar. I don't know the music. I don't know the project. I might have to check it out. If y'all know anything, let me know. So far, this list is getting a little bit easier because I have quite a few projects that we're skipping. Okay, The Smiths, The Queen is Dead. I don't know this album. I know the band. I don't know it, so we gonna skip it. De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising. Okay, I know this is a classic album. I've seen this album cover, and I know a lot of people reference it and say like De La Soul is their favorite. And when it comes to albums, they often reference this. So I'm familiar with this album. Um, oh, you know what? I could just go on here and look at this. Oh, this is cool. Oh, this is one way to look at it. All right. Well, you know what? We're gonna change it up a bit. Okay. So the thing is, I don't know this, but the thing is, you can't. They don't show the full track list. So we're just gonna keep it here. Um. Yes. But honestly, okay. So here's the thing. People say if you like Tribe Called Quest, you'd probably like De La Soul, and I'm familiar with them a little bit, but I did not listen to that album, so give me some grace. Leave me alone. I'm sorry. I'll check it out at some point. Um, okay, Baduism, Erica Badu. This is an album that I grew up listening to, and it's also one of those albums where the older that I get, the more interesting the songs sound. um but I'll speak solely as a fan. um okay, Baduism came out 1997. I was literally one. um but my mom listened to a lot of Erica Badu when she was in my life. And one of the distinct memories that I have of my mom is her playing Erica Badu and Jill Scott, and and Lauryn Hill too. So like that, like the aunties of neo soul music, I grew up listening to because of my mom, and she's from Philly too. And I know like Erica Badu worked with the Roots and the what's that group, the Aquarian aliens or something like that. Hold on, let me get it right. Let me get it right. Give me grace, y'all. Let me get it right. Oh my gosh, I know the name. I so know the name, and it's bothering me that. Okay, hold on. Okay. Hello, folks that are joining the live stream. Welcome in. If y'all are familiar with these projects and let me know in the chat. We are not trolling here. Cup respectful. If I don't know an album that you happen to know that's amazing, then put me on. School me. Don't shit on me. Okay? That's all I ask. If you can teach me, then teach me, but respectfully. Because, shitting on me? Absolutely not. We're not doing that. But yeah, this is a space of love, music. We having a good time. We talking. We breaking everything down. Um, So hold on, let me get this together because I'm mad at myself for not knowing off the top of my head. That's not what I was looking up. Oh my goodness. I mean, trying to look up the roots and then Aquarian, they're like aqua, water into the roots. And I'm like, that's not what I'm looking up. Like, so I'm like, okay, hold on. Like, this search is wild. It is raining. Soul Aquarians, my goodness. The Soul Aquarians. I knew that. I knew that. I'm mad at myself for not knowing that or forgetting, but I knew it. Okay. It's like raining right now, and I know it's probably like a little bit warm. This is like one of those, like, it's one of those vibes where you're like chilling inside, and if you're like boot up or like cuffed up or whatever, you chilling watching movies. It's one of those vibes. But here I am, live streaming, being your entertainment. So you know, thanks for spending Memorial Day with me. Also, shout out to the veterans and those who have lost their lives defending this country um, in honor of Memorial Day. So if there's anybody that's in service that's on here watching, thank you for your service. God bless you and your family. And I know technically it's Memorial Day, but also I want to give thanks to those who participate in the armed services. So thank you. Okay. All right. Baduism. Let's get into it. Okay, so we got Rim Shot. I did a cover of Rim Shot. Please don't look it up. And it's funny because that has like 200 views on like my SoundCloud, and that's not my favorite cover or visual that I've done. But whatever, you got to start somewhere, right? But it's a vibe. It's a song, and on and on. That was my go-to open mic song for a long time. Apple Tree, dope. Um, And speaking of, I did this video. I think it was like the 25th anniversary to this album, so it was a few years ago. I when did I do that? What was it like? Or the 20th? It might have been the 20th anniversary because it'd probably be around 2017. That feels about right. Yeah, 2017 because that was before my life went to shambles. Um, Grateful that we can laugh about it now. But back in the day when I had a social life and I had friends, my artsy friends, I put together this project to do um a tribute to my mom as well as in honor of the 20th anniversary to Baduism. I would have wanted to redo it, but not so much now. But but the best of intentions when you're creative. And so like I got a group of friends together to help um you know like put the music together, and it was some creative friends of mine, my former bandmate when I used to be in Down to Mars way back when, my brother, and another friend of mine who did the video, who is taking pictures at the White House now. Shout out to the glow up. And yeah, the thing, it's interesting because when I look back at the video, I was so mad at like my styling because I just like I was so concerned of like making sure everybody else was good that I wasn't really thinking about like myself visually. And I had to pick up my friend from the train station. I think I like ordered pizza so everybody had something to eat because that's the type of creative that I am. When I have a team, I take care of my people. But people don't want to say that. But anyway, but yeah, so I was worried about so many different things. I was worried about like making sure everything was together, and everybody was good, and making sure like I was able to like pick my friend up and make sure they got home safely and all those things. And so when everybody was there, I was like, okay, I gotta rush and put something together so we can film this, because I don't want to have people waiting on me. And I should have had them wait on me, because I'm like, the visual aspect of it is more than just the music and me singing the songs. Now that I know what I know, and now that I have the visual eye that I do, I wish that I took more time to like put that look together. And just like, and visually, like the I just visually I wanted it to be better. It, if I did it now, it would be a better visual project. But I was like, I want this to be like in honor of my mom, because I grew up listening to Erica Badu because of my mom, and just to highlight the album. And then my dad bought me the vinyl. Shout out to my dad, R.I.P. And so, but and what's very funny about that moment? So this was when I think Redbone had first came out. And I had never heard the song before at that point, but everybody was just kind of like having like a jam session moment and singing along. And I was like, I don't know this song, but I'm gonna let y'all have your moment, because it's a vibe. And I feel like that's the synopsis of my life. Um, and I mean, eventually I heard the song, and it's. I'm pretty sure he got a Grammy off of it. We know the song. It was the whole big part of Get Out, the movie. So eventually I caught on to that song. But yeah, it was a good time though. Like, even in hindsight, I can look back at those moments and have grace for myself as a creative, but then also enjoy the fact that I just really had fun with my friends, and we put everything together to create. And it was a vibe at that time. So yeah, shout out to the Apple Tree Project, or Selena's Apple Tree. That's what I named it. So yeah, just a little background of a creative project that I worked on. I don't really talk about that project a lot or share about it, just because like visually I wish it was better. But it is what it is. You got to go through those projects to develop your skills to be able to, make more aesthetically pleasing visuals. So yeah. All right, but anyway, other side of the game. Love that record, such a vibe. In the video too, with her and Andre 3000. Sometimes that's an interlude, I believe. Next Lifetime. That's not my favorite Eric Badu song, but I see why it's such a classic. But it was one of those songs where when it came on the radio, I would. It's one of the singles that I like skip. It's a great song. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't like the song. It's just I heard it on the radio a lot, and I was like kind of over it just a bit. But I never was over On and On though. Like, On and On was always that song. Certainly underrated record. I wish this were a single. Certainly not me. Certainly. I'm not gonna sing too much because copyrights. Um, Four Leaf Clover. Get your four leaf clover. Okay, so this gets to the part of the album where I kind of like skip through some of these songs. I'm not gonna lie. I usually like the first half of this album, and then the second half is where it kind of like fade out. But I do like to listen to it all the way through. So on the end, we got No Love, Drama, Sometimes, Certainly, Flip, and Rimshot outro. So Baduism, classic record, amazing project from Erica Badu, amazing debut. And there's so many moments of my life that reflect to that moment. And what's interesting too, another side note, another story. I'm like, do I want to tell this story? um I guess it's nothing too crazy. So one year, I think the next year from when I made that visual, um a group of friends of mine at the time, we all went to Afropunk, which in hindsight, there was so much shenanigans going on. But whatever. I enjoyed the moment at the time. So, we went to Afropunk. We got this Airbnb in Brooklyn. and was there for the first day and the second day. And I think that year was who performed? I remember one year I was so pissed that I didn't get to go. Um I think it might have been the year before because Solange performed. It was like Solange, Willow, Princess Nokia, SZA, everybody was there, and I couldn't go to that Afropunk because I was working at Vans at the time. In August, at Vans is like their holiday season because it's back to school, and you got Vans in all types of sizes, kid sizes, adults. And so that was like that one season where you can't take off, and I was so upset. But the thing is, like, I loved my team at Vans, and they always like were cool with me, and plus they were all creatives too, and a lot of times we hung out outside of work and worked on creative stuff. So I was like, but like I love my manager, and most times he look out for me, so I'm here. But anyway, that was a different Afropunk that I really wished I went to at the time. But this year, I think it was Miguel, it was Erica Badu, the internet. Who else performed? I think I feel like Janelle Monáe might have performed that year. And I didn't see her perform because I had already seen her at Made in America years ago. So I ended up watching Kalela perform. And then I also did I think Tyler the Creator was there. This was before I was really into his music, but Tyler the Creator performed as well. And I saw a little bit of that. And I think Ice Cube actually performed this year too. I think the big like headlining people were Erica Badu one day and then Ice Cube the next day, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, it was a moment, it was a vibe, it was a time, it was a time. A time was had. So Erica Badu's performing, right? And we get like spots that's pretty close to the front. And so she kind of like walks out to the crowd a little bit. And I remember like everybody just like rushing over to go like, reach her. And I like almost went and did that too because I was like, oh my gosh, it's Erica Badu. But then I was like, no, I'm gonna like stand here and enjoy the moment, because in my mind at that time I was like, I know there's gonna be a certain moment in my career and in my life where I can elevate to a space where I'll meet her face to face. But that was like my first moment where I was just like, you know what, I'm not gonna be like so wrapped up in the like celebrity thing, but I'm just gonna enjoy this concert and enjoy being a part of the crowd and hearing the music and everything. And yeah. And I mean, and now like it's not even a matter of like wanting to meet your heroes because I feel like I don't really care for that anymore. If I happen to meet her, then I happen to meet her, like, because I'm a fan of the music. But I've gotten to a space where I'm like, celebrities are people, and I can admire the music, but I don't know who these people are. So I don't have to be like such a fan and stan and like they can do no wrong in my eyes because it's like they're people and we don't really know these people. You know what I mean? And I have respect for her as an artist and a creative. And I'm kind of glad that even then I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna like jump with the crowd and try to like run down and like squish all over to the side. Because when you try to get to the front, you're standing, it's a lot of people, it's hot, you've been there all day, and anytime anybody tries to like rush to the front, like you're like squished up there. And I was like, y'all could do that. I'm just gonna stand right here and just like be cool, because I've had moments in the past at concerts where I so was not cool. But we learn and we grow and we mature. I'm a different broad these days. But yeah, so that was, I don't know, there wasn't really much of a story. And then and it was so crazy because like I felt like I had like such a spiritual experience there, and I was just like, I feel like she's putting spells on us. I feel like that's what's happening right here. And and I was just like kept saying that, and everybody was just like, okay, yeah, sure, it was a great time or whatever. I was like, nah, there was like a magical thing happening here. And, usually like when you're kind of like that, people are just like, oh, whatever, you're into like the woo woo thing. But I'm like, nah, that should be real. Because I'm like, it's not far fetched that Erica Badu is a witch. You know what I mean? Respectfully. And yeah, so it was interesting. And yeah, and it just so happened that like I ended up like, and then there was these other things that was going on with my job at the time too, because I was supposed to be off that weekend. I'm not going to go too far into that story. No, actually, I'll say it. I'll say it because this is my platform. And at the time, I was an assistant manager at a store, and my store manager was like, you've been working really hard. You've been doing a great job. You should, um, take a schedule your day off to be a Saturday for this week and a Sunday for next week. So it's like 2 days back to back, but it'll actually be in 2 different weeks. So you technically have like your 2 days off in those weeks. And I'm like, oh, word, that's a good idea. And I can go to Afropunk. So that's what I was doing. So I get a call from my coworker who I used to work with at my other job, at that same mall. And she calls me. She was like, "Hey, I don't know if you know, but your store is closed." And I'm like, "Oh, that's crazy," But I'm like, I'm in Brooklyn right now, so I don't know what y'all want me to do, And then I'm going back and forth with like different people, and then one of my coworkers who was supposed to be there working, she's like, "Oh, the store is closed. I don't know who's supposed to be there." So I reach out to my store manager, and I don't think she was getting in contact with me. But and the thing was, the schedule usually came out at the end of the week, and I was checking the schedule before, but I was just like, for the weekend, I was like, okay, I'm out, I'm with my friends. Once I get settled at home, I'll check it, because I was having issues with internet or whatever. Like, there was a whole thing why I didn't know what the schedule was, but I just knew I had off that day because my store manager suggested it to me. I took off that day, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you're approved, you're good." So I'm like, "All right, cool." So I'm like, I'm trying to call up people just to see like what's going on, and then apparently I was supposed to be working, and I'm like, "No, I requested off, and my request got approved." And so they're like, "Yeah, the store is closed, this and that." And mind you, my store manager, she lived in New York at the time. So I'm like, I'm in New York too, and I'm not leaving. So I'm like, I spent money to be here. I think that was the year where I actually like bought my ticket, because Afropunk used to do this thing where you can what do you call it, volunteer. And I ended up doing that one year, which is kind of like why I even started doing like giving food out to homeless and like care packages and stuff like that, because that's what it was. And I love that experience so much. I do that on my own free time with my own money. So yeah, I might like show that process. I've been like hesitant about doing that because I don't want to like be like, oh, look at me, I'm doing this. So I usually don't like post about stuff like that. But then like when I look at it online and I see content like that, that always gets me like so choked up and emotional. So I don't know, maybe one day I might show that part of my life, maybe just a bit. But so anyway, so the store was closed. Apparently, I was supposed to be there. I'm like, that's not the case, because I requested off. I was approved to go off. And then my store manager, after the fact, she was like, "Yeah, I mean, you were supposed to be here and this and that." I'm like, "What you mean I was supposed to be here? You was the one who suggested for me to take off. Like, what are you talking about?" And so, but I was like, I'm not gonna let this ruin my Afropunk, okay? Like, I'm at Afropunk. Erica Badu is performing. Like, absolutely not. Y'all are not going to ruin my weekend. Like, I'm having such a good time. And so, like, we go through the whole festival thing. We're there for day one. They're there for day two. And then somehow, some way, I ended up like getting sick on the way back. I'm like, you know, just the energy of it all at the time. I don't know. Hmm. In hindsight, there was probably like a lot more going on that I was aware of, but whatever. Yeah, it was a crazy time. But I mean, all in all, back then, even with me being a bit ignorant to certain like circumstances and relationships in my life at that time, I had a good time. Okay, I had a great time. Afropunk was dope. I saw Miguel perform. He did a great job. He sounded great. I think he sang beautiful. I'm not 100% sure. But I was like, oh, this is my song with Mariah. Yes. So I was like, look, I am not gonna let these people ruin my moment. I'm gonna have a good time. And that's literally how I approach life. Like, when the witches and the warlocks be out here trying to, do their little thing or whatever, I'm like, absolutely not. You will not break me down. You will not break my soul. You won't break my soul. You know, I'm like, I'm sorry, Erica Badu herself can't break my soul. In all the magicness and wonderfulness of her, even if it were her, hypothetically speaking, I'm clearly joking. But you know what I'm saying? Because I'm just the type of person where I'm like, okay, anything you throw my way, I'm going to find a way to enjoy it. I'm going to laugh at it. Look, okay, I've been through too much. Good thing I don't look like what I've been through. And, so much has gone on in my life where I'm just like, look, I refuse to let y'all ruin my shit. Okay. You might throw a curveball here and this might pop up, but I'm going to have a good time one way or another. Okay. And I don't know. I hope that inspires any others. So, anyway, that's beside the point. Let's continue with the list. I digress. Shout out to Baduism. Okay. Jimi Hendrix experience. Okay. I love me some Jimi Hendrix. I'm pretty sure I know most of the songs on this project. Yeah. Okay, okay, okay. So Purple Haze. All in my eyes. Such a good song. Okay. Manic Depression, I don't know that one. Hey Joe, I think I've heard that one. Love or Confusion, I don't know that one. May This Be Love. I don't know that. Don't know that. When Cries Mary, I love that song. Fire, love that song as well. Third Stone from Heaven, Foxy Lady, A Vibe. Are You Experienced? I'm not sure if I know that one. Stone Free, 51st Anniversary, Highway Child, Can You See, Remember, Red House. Okay. I don't know all the songs, but I know a handful of songs. Like a majority of the Jimi Hendrix songs that I know are from this project. And this came out in 1967. Amazing. I mean, like, it's Jimi Hendrix, He is one of those people who unfortunately passed at the age of 27 and just living that rock star life and but he left us with amazing music. I actually have Electric Ladyland on vinyl, um but I really do want the Jimi Hendrix experience. I think that would be a really dope addition to my collection of vinyls. So yeah, oh man, Jimi Hendrix, amazing. When Cries Mary, I love that song so much. And it's like, it's such a uh, sonically different than most of his like upbeat, jam guitar solo songs. It's like more mellow and beautiful. But even like the guitar solo on that record, like it's just beautiful. It's such a beautiful song. And then Fire is one of those upbeat records. Purple Haze is a classic song. Shout out to Guitar Hero putting me on to Jimi Hendrix. I had no idea who this man was until Guitar Hero, and then there was a Guitar Hero where I think or they had like a thing where you can download it off of the internet where you can add songs on, I believe, and there was like this whole like Jimi Hendrix like moment where they just had like hella Jimi Hendrix songs, and yeah, and I remember me and my brother, we would listen and play a lot to his music, and it's just amazing. um so yeah, shout out to Jimi Hendrix. Tupac, All Eyes on Me. All right, is Biggie on the list? I don't remember if Biggie is on this list. Hold on, let's just take a moment to like skim through. Oh, he is okay, okay, okay. I'm like, look, because they go together, peanut butter and jelly. They do. You can't have a Tupac without a Biggie. You know what I mean? Like their legacy is just like synonymous in that way. Um. Okay. Tupac. All Eyes. I gotta remember what's on that album because I know a lot of Tupac songs, but I'm not familiar with like exactly what album. Okay, so it's a 2 disc album. Okay. California Love. Um, Picture Me Rolling. Okay. All Eyes on Me. Okay. You know what? To be fair, I don't know a lot of these songs on this project. I know a few songs. I think this might have been like one of his last albums before he passed because this came out in 1996. Like I am more familiar with some other projects, but I know he has a lot of music. It's so much music. But yeah, shout out to Tupac. He's a legend. His cultural impact is still felt to this day as the legendary rapper that he is. And also, I kind of went into this talk about Tupac and Biggie in my last live stream when I was talking about just lyrical context with which stemmed from Eminem. You know, shout out to a former friend of mine. I won't say her name because I know when we used to be friends, she went by another name. And so I don't know if she still go by that name or not. I don't know. But either way, she gave me a different perspective of Tupac because, you know, when she was saying, I was like, oh, but how do you not like Biggie? Biggie is so dope, like his wordplay, this and that. But she like, he talking about shooting up people and fucking bitches and this and that. Tupac, be saying stuff that like he talking to the ladies, because she liked songs like Brenda Got a Baby and Keep Your Head Up and stuff like that. And it made sense because she was a single mom. And I'm like, okay, I get it. And so it made me listen to music differently and it made me appreciate Tupac more for his lyrical context and the fact that his message was so diverse as an artist. Like he had the gangster stuff, he had the hit 'em up type of vibes, but he also had music that resonated with women, that empowered women, that uplifted women, and I'm all about that. And because I'm not gonna lie, one of my favorite Tupac songs is "I Get Around." So, and I mean, I could go bar for bar on that one. But you know, yeah, I was thinking about getting into it right now, but I'm like, those who break their necks to keep their hoes in check, cause they sweat a brother majorly, and now I know why your girl keeps paging me. She tell me that she needs me every time she sees me. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Anyway, but it's a bop. All right, so after Tupac, we have Sade, Love Deluxe. Now, I have really been into Sade these last few years. I don't know if that was written in the stars for me to be into Sade at this point in my life, which is so funny to me because my dad used to be like, "Oh, I don't really care for Sade because all her songs sound the same," which I can kind of understand where he's coming from because she has this thing like a signature, and I feel like that's usually a thing with artists, especially when they write their own music, which is what Mariah like that used to be a criticism for Mariah too. And it's like, oh, Mariah Carey songs sound the same, and she's like, well, I guess that's true since I write all my own music. And that's the case for Sade. She writes her music. She comes up with her melodies. And like her thing is keep looking. Like that interval. If you listen to all her songs, she got that in at least all of them. Like sorry. Bless my life and my existence. Um I'm trying to think what song is it? I think um there's a handful of songs. There's a handful of songs like that. Smooth operator, operator. Like, that she just like that. Or also probably Paradise too. Paradise. Like her melodies are very similar. So I get where he was coming from. But I was like, that why he got going on Sade. But I digress. You know. Um, but my opinionated father, God rest his soul. Um anyway, so Love Deluxe. Me personally, I can see why Love Deluxe made this list because that's the album with Ordinary Love. And there's quite a few songs on here that's hits. You got Ordinary Love, Like a Tattoo, which has been really big recently on TikTok. Kiss of Life, Cherish the Day. Um, I don't know if Bulletproof Soul is a single, but that's on there. And Feel No Pain, I think that might have been a single. I think that there was a video for that song. I get why this album was on here. My personal favorite Sade album is Promise, which is the sophomore album, because we're gonna have a Sade moment real quick. Okay, so the first one is Diamond Life, right? And that has Smooth Operator, Your Love is King, Hang On to Your Love, which are classic records, without a doubt. Um, and that came out 1984. Yeah, Smooth Operator, Your Love is King. Yeah, and I said it right in album order too. Um, you know, it's not my favorite Sade album because I feel like even though their first few albums have that jazzy sound, I think they refined it once they got to the Promise album because a lot of these feel like poppy jazz. I don't know how to explain it. Respectfully. Um, and they're classic records. You can listen to them today, and mind you, she was young. This is like their first album out the gate, but it's really Promise where I feel like she honed her sound. And the irony of talking about my dad and and Sade music, and he passed away recently. Um, she the Promise album was in honor of her father, because I think he had cancer and he passed away. And promise it was a promise that he made to her or something along the lines of that. And I think Promise is my favorite album because it has the most songs on an album from Sade that I really like. So I would have loved to see that on there, but I understand why Love Deluxe is here. But Is It a Crime, The Sweetest Taboo, Jezebel's on here. Honestly, that's not even my favorite song, but I know like she performs that one. But the songs that I like, War of Hearts, which I often talk about, like really showcases her vocal ability because there's this note towards the end of the song where she's like belting this note for like 20 minutes. And even though like I feel like people don't talk about Sade enough as a vocalist, like we love her for her tone and the velvety voice, and she might not do all the acrobatics and the ad libs and the runs and stuff like that, but she doesn't have to. Like just her tone of her voice, her as a writer, and just her look and the style and the aesthetic, everything like. And then the band, like the music is good, the writing is good, her voice, like she doesn't need a lot. And even with her style, she's not one of those artists that does a whole lot of over the top looks. A lot of her looks are very simplistic, very classic beauty, very it's either her hair is down or she got the ponytail, the braid, the red lip and the hoops, and that's her look. And it's very classic Sade. And but it's beautiful though, and it's very feminine, and and it's just like the Sade aesthetic. People emulate that all the time. Like shit, this look is with the hair down, like whenever she has like the straight back hair, just because it's just that like that simple classic beauty. And I feel like we don't talk enough about the vocals. Anyway, beside the point. But yeah, Promise, amazing album to me. And I really like how Sweetest Taboo and Is It a Crime, the music videos, she had the same love interest in those videos. And I think, and they were in the same studio where they recorded the Sweetest Taboo video and Is It a Crime. So I think the videos are like synonymous with each other as well. And yeah, and I thought that was really cool. But I love this album. And then also Punch Drunk, which happens to be a track where it's just the band, like she's not singing on there. Similar to Mermaid on Love Deluxe, how it's just like instrumental, is just the band and the musicians. Um, and then also a song on here is Maureen. That was one of my favorite songs for a long time. I mean, it still is. I still like that song. I just haven't listened to it in a while. And but the interesting story about that one is that she wrote that in honor of a friend of hers who passed away, that she grew up with. But if you listen to the song, it's like this upbeat, lively feeling. And, she wrote it with the intention of the upbeat vibe to be representative of the energy of her friend, because that was like her personality. She was lively. And when she came out with the album, the family of her friend didn't like that song because they thought it was insensitive, because it was like this upbeat song. Because it's like, Maureen, never gonna see you again, never meet my new friends. But it's like, new friends, that same melody that she do, but but if you hear the band part of it, it does have like a upbeat jazzy feel. And I can understand why they felt that way. So for that reason, she doesn't really perform that song like this. But I personally love the song, and I understand what her intentions were. So I feel like, I don't know, maybe if she explained that to the family, I'm pretty sure she might have. I don't know. But I read that in an article somewhere, a while ago. And, that's why you don't really see any live performances of that song. But it's still one of my favorite Sade songs. But anyway, Love Deluxe is a classic record. I see why it's on here. I mean, and I do have some favorites off of Love Deluxe too. And honestly, hot take, No Ordinary Love isn't my favorite Sade song. Sorry. I know that's like the biggest Sade song, but it's not my favorite song. And you know what? I will say, but what I do appreciate about that song is that it doesn't it sounds genreless. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't sound like a traditional R&B song, even though you hear it on old school R&B radio all the time, and you hear it like in stores, and they play it. But it doesn't sound like a traditional R&B song, and it doesn't sound like anything like their first few albums, like the really jazzy sound. It kind of has like its, I don't know, it very much sounds like what the video is, like underwater music, cuz she's kind of like emulating a mermaid in the video, and and emulating like a siren. But I don't know, like sonically, it's not my favorite song. But and it's interesting how it's like one of their biggest songs. And I'm not sure what it is about that record that's so like encapsulating. But it's still a great song, and I appreciate what it does. But it's just not my personal favorite. However, I do like a Tattoo. I think Like a Tattoo is a beautiful record. I love the guitar on that song, and just her melodies, and the story that she's telling about a time where she spoke with a war veteran, which is very this I'll share this story just as because it's appropriate for the fact that today is Memorial Day. And she said that she was in I believe an Irish bar in New York, and she sat with a guy who was a veteran, and he told her a story about being in the Vietnam War and how that affected him, and how essentially she wrote the song based on what he was telling her, and just like the shame that he felt, and he wears it like a tattoo after seeing, like, looking into the eyes of someone that he killed for war, and just the post traumatic stress that he had to deal with through that. And so she wrote that song um out from that story. And it's just a beautiful song if you listen to it and listen to the lyrics. And I thought about covering this song, but I want to learn the guitar part, which is a little bit intricate, but I think I can get it. Like, if I can play The Lung by Hiatus Coyote, I think I can learn this song. So I'll 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 work on it. But Like a Tattoo, beautiful record. Kiss of Life, huge song. So one of those hits. I love Kiss of Life, and I really love, also, okay, because I know I mentioned Kalela on here before twice, because she's featured on Solange's album, and I mentioned that I really liked her. And also, I skipped out on seeing Janelle Monáe to see Kalela. No shade, Janelle, but Kalela was my girl at the time, and I had already seen Janelle. So, but yeah, so Kalela did a cover of Like a Tattoo, so check that out. Me just supporting artists, because that's what I do. Um, but yeah, and if you're talented and you're dope, then yeah, I'll do that. And Kiss of Life, K Tronada. I think K Tronada was also at Afropunk too. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure he was at that Afropunk as well. But K Tronada did a remix of Kiss of Life, and I think that also ushered in me really deep diving into Sade's music. And I loved his remix of this song. And then I was like, and then when I started listening to Sade's music and really just like going into her albums, um, it made me appreciate this song more. Cherish the Day, another one of those songs that I feel like is genreless. And I also make a Cherish the Day reference lyrically in my song Without You. So if you want to go to my SoundCloud or in my YouTube account and check out that video, I wrote a different song. I wrote a new song over a Tribe Called Quest beat, um, Conrad Tokyo, and I made several old school R&B references. So if you listen to the lyrics and peep it, let me know in the comments. So check it out. But Cherish the Day, one of my favorite songs. Pearls, dope. Bulletproof Soul, a vibe. And Mermaid, I really love Mermaid. I really like to take baths and listen to Mermaid and just feel like a mermaid, especially like if I like have my hair in the water and I don't have to think, because as a black woman and you got to think about hair, and if you just got it done and all that stuff, you know what I mean. But if I could just be and just just like kind of have like my little mermaid moment, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. Um, but yeah, okay. Love Deluxe, amazing album. All right. Woo! All right, we're hour in. Okay, The Velvet Underground and Nico. I think I said that right. I know the band. I don't know the album like that, and I think there might be one song off this album that I'm probably familiar with. I don't know if it's off this album. Actually, I really don't know. Oh, I don't know. That's not what I thought it was. Um, Okay, yeah, no, I don't know any of these songs. Shout out to them. Shout out to them for making a list. If y'all know some Velvet Underground and Nico songs, let me know in the comments below. Give me some recommendations. I'll check it out. Arctic Monkeys, AM. I know the band. I don't know the songs like that. Let's see if there's any. I'm pretty sure there might be like a few songs that I might have heard of. How do you spell this again? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I don't think I know it. I don't think I know anything on here. I might have heard of a song, but I don't know it enough to give an opinion. So we're gonna skip that. Shout out to Arctic Monkeys though. I'm familiar with the band. I just don't listen to them a whole lot. Oasis, I know them too a little bit. I know Wonderwall. If that's on this album, then I know that one. Okay, what's the story? Morning Glory. What a clever title. Okay, yeah, I know Wonderwall, and that's about the only song off this project that I know. Wonderwall's a classic record. Shout out to Jay Z. He did a cover of it at Glastonbury or Glastonbury, the festival that they have in the UK. Yeah, I don't know any of these other songs. Shout out to Oasis though. Okay, album I can talk about: Voodoo by D'Angelo. Um, D'Angelo. I also saw him perform at uh, Made in America the first year when they did it, and I think at that time is when he came out with the Vanguard album. No, that was before. That was before. The album hadn't come out yet, but it was around that time because this was when I was in high school. I wasn't in college yet, and that album came out my freshman year of college. And I remember listening to that a lot in like my art classes. Um, and to be clear, like we could listen to music in our class. Like if we were like drawing or painting or something like that, and it wasn't a class where my teacher was giving us instructions, we were allowed to listen to music. So don't come for me. All right, but voodoo. Um, Classic album, amazing, soulful production, musicality, instrumentation, and I would say lyrics, but I don't know what he be saying, but it don't matter because it sounds amazing. Um, Playa Playa, love that song. Devil's Pie, a vibe. I think that was on the Belly soundtrack. I think Left and Right, or is that song on there? I forget. Left and Right, that's probably like the only song I skip. Sorry, Redman and Method Man. Shout out to Method Man from, Nork. Anyway, or no, or is it Redman? Lord, forgive me. Okay, not my generation. Okay, forgive me if I don't know the specifics, but shout out to them. Shout out to them. Wu Tang vibes, and just that era, that time, that moment. Okay. Anyway, the line. How does that song go again? Oh, the bass line. Oh, okay. All right. We're not playing no music though. Okay. Send It On. Love that song. Send it right back to you. Oh, what would I do? I think that's the words. I don't know. Chicken grease. I know that one. One more gin. The root. Now it's interesting because I know what that means now. When you try to put a root on somebody, you know what I mean? The magic, the voodoo, the voodoo, hoodoo, the voodoo. Spanish joint is my shit though. Oh man, I love that song. And the root too. And he had the mojo in his he left his mojo in his favorite suit. I'm like, okay, D'Angelo, I know what you're talking about now. I'm like, don't leave your mojo, sir. Don't do that. You don't want to do that. You gotta keep the mojo on you, on your persons. But anyway, let me not give away too much of the secrets. But apparently everybody know more magic than me. But whatever. Anyway, Spanish joint, that's my shit. Feel Like Making Love, Great Day in the Morning, Booty. I don't think I know this one. And you know why? Because I had a scratched CD of this. And so this song would skip all the time. So I would have to skip that song. So I kind of don't know how that song goes. But Untitled, How Does It Feel? Africa, like amazing album. And he put this out on New Year's Day at the beginning of the century. How ambitious. Um, wow. I didn't know that. Okay. But yeah, shout out to we're starting off the year with Voodoo. Okay. All right. I mean, it's a classic album. It's amazing sonically. It's phenomenal, a phenomenal album. Like, I mean, I can't say much more else about this. But every now and then I do like to get into a deep dive and like really like listen to the musicality of that project. Okay, The Cure, um, Disintegration. I know the band, I don't know the song. I'm not gonna act like I do. Excuse me. Shout out to them. Shout out to them making the list. They on here. Okay, we got Auntie by Rihanna, which is personally my favorite Rihanna album. Now, I'm not going to act like I listened to every album. I listened to her first few albums because I was following her career for a bit in the beginning. And then I think around like Unapologetic or like Talk That Talk, like she just got too famous for me. Like I think the last album I remember like really listening to start to finish was Loud. And then but I knew the singles from Talk That Talk and Unapologetic, which a lot of songs on those albums were hits. But Auntie, man, oh, when I tell you that album was a moment in time. But you know what? And you know what's interesting? Because if you want to get a little bit into the like celebrity tea or whatever, because I'm not gonna lie, celebrity gossip is a guilty pleasure of mine. But what Jaguar Wright was saying about Rihanna, which is a very interesting take. But the cover of this album, and the thing is, I've always wondered about covers and albums and the symbolism behind it, like Lemonade, and and also Auntie, like with the balloon and the and her and like with this like red and the eye. Like I was like, what is happening here? Like what is the symbolism here? And like the braille and the crown blinding the eyes. Like what is that about? What's the deeper meaning? Because I'd like to know. Because I'm a girl about symbolism. I like symbolism and like deeper meanings and stuff like that. And conspiracy theories and vibes. Like I'm with that. But I'm always intrigued. And I know there's like a deeper meaning that everybody else knows that, I gotta be late to the party. But I'm like, all right, well catch me up. Shit. You know? But whatever. But anyway, Auntie, a vibe, an album, consideration with SZA. Okay, all right, hold on. Sorry, Rihanna. I have a. Speaking of conspiracy theories, I have an idea. I have a thought. Right, I could be wrong. And shout out to both these artists. Nothing against them. You know what I mean? But this is just a thought and a theory that I have. And I was like hesitant on sharing it, but if I was going to share it, I might as well share it on my platform, right? All right. So I feel like, so for anybody who doesn't know the backstory of this song, Consideration is a song that SZA wrote, and it was originally going to be on Control, but she played it for Rihanna. And I think she was just like playing different songs and music for her. And Rihanna was like, oh, I like that song. I want that song. And so SZA like, okay, but this is going to be on my album. And Rihanna's like, no, it's going to be on my album. And then she also played her Same Old Mistakes by Tom and Paula. I think I'm saying that right. And so she ended up doing that cover. So, when she was hanging out with Rihanna, she was playing a lot of the music for her, and that ended up inspiring this album. And so, SZA was kind of like a little bit heartbroken about like losing the Consideration song, because she said uh it was like it was a vital part of Control and the message and the story that was around that album. And she had already shot a video for the song, and she just had to like take the L on that, which ultimately was a win, because I mean it helped her. But at the time, Rihanna was the bigger artist. It's not like we're talking about SZA like she is today. SZA today could be like, no, Rihanna, this my song. Find another song. I'll write you a new song, but this my song. SZA today could say that. But SZA then was like, I mean, it is Rihanna, and I mean, I could use the coin, but this, and I'm putting my album out, but it is my debut, and this like her 20th album. So, all right. So here's my theory with that backstory in mind. Well, there's another backstory actually. So back in the day, sorry, SZA, but it's already out there. Um, back in the day, there was this tweet where around the time like maybe early 2010s, like 2012, 2013, before SZA was the artist that she is, and when she was like a regular human just like the rest of us, and we could talk reckless on Twitter and not really think about it, because we're just the peanut gallery, we're the art, we're the audience. And back at this time, Rihanna was going back and forth on Twitter with Sierra, and they was beefing and going in on each other. And and Sierra was like, oh, don't come for me, this and that. And Rihanna's like, oh, well, I want to see you after the stage. Well, I'm gonna sell out this show, whatever. They was going back and forth. I forget what the cause was, but whatever. They was going back and forth. SZA back in the day, Solana, before she was SZA, was like, well, neither one of them could sing worth a damn. She said that I didn't. And apparently that tweet had resurfaced, but you know, we all say dumb shit. We all say shit, especially when you're not a celebrity and you're just looking and you're observing what these, public figures are doing. And we put our opinions out there. We all do. Even celebrities who are famous and who actually have to worry about PR and, like their public reputations, be shitting on other famous people, but whatever. So, somehow, some way that tweet resurfaced, right? And also another backstory. Apparently, like way back when, SZA and Drake dated at one point. I don't remember the timeline, but Drake mentioned it on the song. It's not new. We know about it. Okay, they had dated briefly or a thing, right? And I think at this time when the Anti album was coming out, Rihanna and Drake were like talking and dating or whatever. Because you got the work came out, um, Too Good off of Drake's album was out, so they was collaborating a lot. They was performing and doing the music videos, doing the grinding and the whining and all of that. So they were a thing. So here is my theory. I feel like Rihanna taking consideration was her low key getting her lick back. Because if you look at the live performance that she did, I forget what event it was. If it was her, I don't think it was like her tour, but it was a concert that she did around the time of Anti, and her and SZA did consideration, but it was real brief. And mind you, the song they're singing back and forth, she isn't even like sharing the stage with SZA, but like they did like some really cool lighting thing, and like SZA's all the way in the back, and Rihanna's in the front, and they're like singing. So SZA pops out for like 2 seconds, sings her part, and then she leaves, right? And then also Rihanna performs uh work with Drake, and Drake is out there performing with her, and they whining and grinding and doing their thing. Part of me feels like there was just a little tad bit of pettiness around that. It's like, all right, I'm gonna have you on my stage, but bitch, you can sing in the back, type of thing. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And I could just be stirring up some shit. But don't listen to me. I'm just little Narice from Trenton, New Jersey, with less than 200 followers. But if you rock with me, you can subscribe and help me get monetized and get me to 1,000. Hey, because I just be sharing my theories. I ain't see nobody break this down like that. So I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. But it doesn't matter now though now, because Rihanna is with her man. She got her beautiful children. You know, SZA is one of the biggest superstars right now, and her album is making sales. Drake, I don't know what's gonna come of this whole situation with the battle. I mean, it's Drake though. I'm pretty sure he could just come out with a hit and he'll be fine. Like, I mean, yes, Kendrick really put the works on him, but I think Drake will be okay. And I mean, he got the song with SZA, so they cool. You know what I mean? But that's just my shady conspiracy theory behind that whole situation. Because when I first seen that performance, hold on, let me just bring it up real quick, so y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know, so you know what I'm talking about. If you've seen the performance, you know what I mean. Because there's not many performances with them sing. Okay, hold on. That's not okay. I forget where this performance was. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to see. Why are they not showing the clip? I mean, there's like a little clip of it. All right. Well, they got it on. All right, hold on. You can't even see nothing. And I'm not about to play this song like that, because you not Rihanna and SZA, y'all not about to demonetize me. Y'all made y'all money, okay? Y'all made y'all money. I gotta make my money too. I got bills to pay. I ain't got no kids, but I got bills. Shit. All right, but I'm trying to find the performance. I don't know why it's not. All right, but let's just turn the volume down just a bit. All right, I don't know what this is about. Okay, so you see, like, you got SZA in the back right here. You got all these light effects and all this, and then Rihanna's in the front, and like she popped up real quick, and then like she's like, all right, now scoot off the stage. Now, but here's the thing though, they go back and forth in the verses, I believe. So I don't know why they could have had a full moment, like a sharing the stage moment. I don't know. I just always thought that was weird. But that's my conspiracy theory. But it don't matter. Like I say, they got their money now. They're both super successful. You know, um, Rihanna ain't gotta put music out. But whatever. Anyway, we're just still on song one. Um, I'm just saying. But so after consideration, which also happens to be a song that me and my brother would perform a lot, like back in the day when I used to have a social life, no pun intended, and I would perform at the social. It's a bar in my area where we would do karaoke and open mics and stuff, and that would be my brother and I's go-to song. So shout out to Consideration. I still think it's a great song, and I would have wanted to hear Consideration on Control, you know. But at the same time, I feel like Rihanna did a great job mixing it into this album. So anyway, James Joint, which is an interesting song. It reminds me of this place in my area, um, this weed spot where the guy who the weed man's joint in my area also, um, who just happens to look reminiscent of my dad, whose name happens to be James. Um, you know, interesting. Just coincidences in my life. But James Joint, such a vibe sonically. I wish that song was longer. Definitely one of those like 420 type of records. I don't smoke weed like I used to back in the day, but not that I'm like opposed to weed or anything like that. Like if you smoke weed, that's your thing, do your thing. It's just like I like to be clear and focused. And I'd have to be like around the right people or in the right settings for me to feel like comfortable, like, and I wouldn't like smoking a lot. Like it used to be like a crutch for me, like and I get it when you're a pothead, it's just a part of the culture, like if you're around friends who smoke weed all the time. But I'm like, I'm trying to build a brand here, and I just need to be focused and clear on my things and what I'm doing and all that stuff. But like if you chilling or whatever and you with your friends, you had a kickback, it's a vibe. Very much like Trying to Smoke by Janae Aiko. So also a vibe. Kiss It Better is a vibe. Work, love that song. I don't care how many times that song came on the radio. I'll jam to it to this day. Work and One Dance are like that for me. Like I don't care. That shit could play back to back for 10 minutes and I will still bop to them songs. Desperado, a vibe. Different, like dark, eerie kind of like vibe, but cool at the same time. Woo. I really loved like the production on this album and just like the variety of sounds, but it was all cohesive at the same time. Needed Me, she was talking her shit on that record. It was a very Rihanna type song. Yeah, I said it, real sexy. I think that was like that kind of like smooth, kind of like sexy track. Same Old Mistakes, that like really alternative sounding song, but she made it fit the album. Like it fit like it was supposed to be on here, and again, like all these songs sound different from each other, but they all sound cohesive. um Never Ending, I don't think I remember how that one sounds. Love on the Brain, classic record. The white girls love this song. And I mean, and it's got like that old school um bluesy kind of sound, and she was really doing her thing vocally on this live and on the record. Higher. um I can commend her vocals on there, but I don't really care for that song. Close to You and Goodnight Gotham, those are okay. I think this might be the deluxe version. Um, but Pose, I don't remember how that one is. And Sex with Me, that's a vibe. It's a bop. It's a vibe. But yeah, shout out to Auntie. Um, and my messy conspiracy theories. But I mean, look, we're human. It happens. Like people date, people say messy things. Like it's a part of life. Like it happens. But I feel like there was some shade why she took the song and had SZA singing in the back. I'm like, now why she got her all the way back there, you know? And not even that, but like you ain't even got no lights on her. You got this red ass light that can't nobody see, you know? And I get it, like you can say like it matches the album cover or whatever, but I could be wrong though. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Um anyway, next album. Okay. See, yeah, I definitely had to do this in sections because whew, all right. I mean, but luckily I can skip a few of these next few albums, so it shouldn't take me too long. All right, John Coltrane. Okay, Love Supreme. I don't know if I know any of them songs, but I do like John Coltrane. I don't think I spelled his name right. No, I didn't. Like I the songs that I like from him, I don't think are on that album. Ooh, there's so many albums. That's the one thing about jazz artists. It's like, oh my goodness, how many albums do you have? Okay, and he got like 20 different versions of the same album. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Hold on. Let me. These don't seem familiar. I don't think I know this album. I don't know this album at all. I'll consider it. Consider listening to it. But what I do know is Sentimental Mood with him and Miles Davis. Oh no, Duke Ellington, my bad. In a Sentimental Mood, which I think was sampled in Fabulous's um Call Me. Like if you listen to the beat in the background, I don't think that was a single, but if you listen to that song Call Me by Fabulous and then listen to In a Sentimental Mood, I'm pretty sure that song is sampled in there. And how that sample is cut is fly. Whoever produced that beat, shout out to them. Um yeah. And then my favorite things, I know my dad will listen to that a lot. His version of my favorite things around the holidays, he would um he would play that record. Um yeah. But I don't know enough John Coltrane, but shout out to John Coltrane, RIP, legend, amazing. Rolling Stones, Exile on Main Street. I don't know that album. I know the band. I know some of the songs. Okay, let's see what's on here. Okay, let's see. I don't know none of these songs. I don't know none of them. I'm not going to act like I do. Came out in 1972, before my time. Even though I know songs from the 70s, but if it was like Stevie Wonder, then I know. But I know Can't Get No Satisfaction, and then also Miss You. I think my dad would play that song a lot. If I'm right. Yeah, a vibe. Yeah, and my dad would play that song. I think I know Sympathy for the Devil, but I don't know enough to be like, oh man, the Rolling Stones, my favorite band. Nah. Shout out to them though. I know they're classic. Shout out to Mike Jagger. Um, you know, he's a vibe. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. I'm familiar with this album. I don't think I've listened to it all the way through. I might know some songs on here. Let me see. Uh, Guns N' Roses. That's the group with Slash, right? I love me some Slash though. Oh, Sweet Child of Mine. Okay, Welcome to the Jungle. All right, all right. I know I was on. I knew I knew something more here. Okay, Welcome to the Jungle. I know that one. Um, yeah, Sweet Child of Mine. Okay, you know what's funny about that? What really put me onto that song? Step Brothers. If you know, you know. But yeah, that shit was funny. That's literally how I even know about that song, which is crazy. But yeah, shout out to Guns N' Roses and Slash, which I only know the guitarist, but shout out to them. All right, y'all, we got Prince. And Prince is one of the few artists that happen to be on this list multiple times. Him and Beyonce have two albums on this list. Um, let's see what's on Sign of the Times. Okay. If I Was Your Girlfriend. I think I've heard this song. Okay, a vibe, a vibe. I remember that one. Okay, honestly, oh, Adore. Ooh, a vibe. Hoo, 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 hoo. Baby. Ow! All right, we're not gonna play too much of that. Yeah, a vibe. Back when me and my cousin actually liked each other, that was our song. Um, I mean, it's still about because circumstances don't ruin music for me, but I'm like, still, I would still go off to that song. All right, not my favorite Prince album. Well, okay, here's the honest truth. I need to listen to more Prince albums. He has too many. But I one of these days in life, I'll take a moment where I can just like deep dive and like really get into his projects. But okay, I might have to listen to this. I know one record off of this album, and I know another record off of the album. But it's not my favorite Prince songs on here. And no, my I don't well, okay, I can't say that Purple Rain isn't my favorite Prince album, but the songs that I like from Prince aren't all on that album. I'll say that. But yeah, Prince is a phenomenal artist. He's great. We'll really get more into Prince once we get to Purple Rain because that is on here. If anybody didn't know, spoiler alert: Purple Rain is on here. It's in the top 10, and we'll get more in depth into Prince when we get to that album. Kate Bush. All right, 50. We at the last one. My God. I thought this was gonna be a breeze because I was like, I don't recognize most of this stuff on here. Like most of the like old school rock albums, I either know the band or know a few songs, but I don't know the full album, or I just don't know them at all. But I'm aware though. I'm aware of the old school rock music, but I didn't grow up listening to them unless they had like Police on here. I'm familiar with Police's discography, and Tears for Fears, shout out to my dad for putting me onto that music. God rest his soul. He at least, left me with some decent taste in music. Um, you know, and yeah. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm not familiar with all of these. But I also also Talking Heads too. And I know one of the Talking Heads albums are on here, but that's later. So yeah. But all right, Kate Bush. Let's get into it. Shout out to Kate Bush having like a resurgence in the streets because of the Running Up the Hill song going viral from Stranger Things, which is a song that came out in the 80s. And she ended up topping the charts with this record when it was going viral. So shout out to Kate Bush. Running Up That Hill, which is probably the only song that I know on this album. No shade. No shade to her at all. Hi, Angie. Give me a second, love. I'm almost done. Anyway, um, yeah, I really can't add more to this because I don't listen to Kate Bush like that. But I do know that, like I said, she this topped the charts when it went viral from Stranger Things. So shout out to Kate Bush. Shout out to you making the list. Um, and she had her resurgence, and I love that. I love that. So yeah, we're going to end this right here. Um, whew. Oh man, this was a time, darling. Okay, and most of it was like me and my tangents and my stories. Because when you grow up with music, like you have certain memories and moments with it. So I was like, oh wait, hold on, let me share this story. But yeah, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I was hesitant on sharing my like messy conspiracy about Rihanna and SZA because I've thought about that for a while, and even in those moments, and in seeing that performance when it happened live around that time of Anti, I just thought it was so weird. I was like, why is she back there? Like like why are you all the way back there, Whitney Houston voice? And then when I saw those tweets and everything, and then heard about like her like dating Drake at one point, now I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I feel like it kind of adds to the petty. You know what I mean? And I mean, like, let's be real. As humans, we all have had those moments where it's like, oh, you used to date somebody that I'm with, so let me be a little extra now. And and they was all whining and grinding on the same performance, same show. And and Drake was up there. Drake only had a verse. Her and SZA shared the damn song. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And I get it, work was the bigger song. So like, okay, it made sense for her to have a bigger moment for that. But I'm like, okay, if you have this whole laid out performance, which I don't know what the performance was for, I feel like it was for her album, because if she was even performing Consideration in the first place, because it wasn't a single, I'm assuming it was to promote the album. There could have been a bigger moment for Consideration, is all I'm saying. But again, I could be wrong. No shade. Shout out to both those girls. They're both queens in their own right. They're both dominating at what they do. Rihanna getting her coins. She living her best life being a mama. Shout out to her and her family. Much blessings to them. Shout out to SZA. She getting her coins. She, one of the biggest artists right now. But that's just my perspective and my opinions. So I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, anyway, that's my think pieces about these albums. We are at 50 now, so part 2 was technically, it should have been 75, but we started from 74 to 50. So now we're going to do 49 to 25. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we'll do. And then we'll do the countdown. So technically I'm doing like 24 on here. Like the count is weird and off, but whatever. As long as it's on here, and as long as I can keep this under like 2 hours for each part, then it'll be fine. So thank you all for um yeah, so I don't know what's happening here. Well, yeah, shout out. Um So if you enjoy the vibes, if you enjoy the content, and with the best of intentions, then be sure to like, comment, subscribe respectfully. Don't try me, because if my life were like the Truman Show and you were to just so happen to know more about my life than I know, or what you think you know about my life based on certain narratives and stuff like that, then and if you're here for those petty reasons, absolutely not. This is not the platform for you. This is not the space for you. Because here we're talking about music, we're talking about creativity, and we're having a good time, And like I said, it don't matter what you throw my way. You're not going to make me not have a good time. So we're here to enjoy the platform and enjoy the music. And again, like I mentioned in my first live stream, I'm not going to go too much into like the order of albums and like, oh, this album should have been up here. And, because like I said, it's covering a gambit of genres. So you're not going to be able to please everybody. You're covering different genres, different time periods, different like styles of music and all these things. So it's like you're not going to make everybody happy. But I'm just considering the albums that are featured here, and I'm just giving my own perspective about those albums, my own stories and opinions about the songs and why I feel like it's here. And then when it comes to that particular artist, like for example, like what I did with Sade, I'll mention whether I think like, okay, I'm familiar with their discography, and out of their own albums, I would have liked to see this other album versus this album. So that's how I'll do the breakdowns here. And then, like I said, you have a select few artists like Beyonce and Prince who happen to have 2 albums on this list. So, and then and as I'm doing this list, I've seen people talk about it and mention the people who weren't mentioned on this list. And I made a post about it on my TikTok earlier today. If you want to follow me on TikTok, I have two different accounts, one for my music and my artistry. And like I mentioned on here, you can check out my cover videos on YouTube, especially my scissor covers, because I feel like those are my best ones. And but also like just any other one as well. And then also my TikTok for where I talk pop culture. It's just more concise the versions of what I'm doing here. Talking music, talking film. Every now and then I might get into my science bag because I am a nerd that's into astronomy, and I think the stars are cool, and and physics is important. And I'm not like a scientist, or I didn't study science. I didn't go to school for it. And when I was going to school looking up science, I was not the best. But now as an adult, I have an appreciation for it. And I do love the stars. I love the cosmos, and I think they're interesting. So on my platform, I might get into it because I recently watched Joe Rogan's podcast with Terrence Howard, and he talked a lot about like his reworked version of the periodic table, and the sacred flower of life, and just like different things. It was a lot of cool different things on there. And so every now and then, if I see something that's intriguing enough, I might talk a little bit of science too. So if you're into that vibe, you can subscribe, follow, like, comment respectfully. And again, don't try me, because disrespect is not what we are tolerating. Absolutely not. But if you're here for the musical vibes, that's what I'm here doing. You know. So yeah, it's your girl Narice, and I hope you enjoyed this live stream. I will be back to do another live stream tonight. Yeah, I decided I'm gonna do another live stream tonight, but I'm not gonna do a breakdown of the album. We're gonna do that later on this week because I need like time and energy to like go into these lives. So yeah, but my next live stream, like I mentioned before, I'm working on some cover songs. I started doing, well, I didn't start, I finished Frank Ocean's Sweet Life off of his album Channel Orange. I haven't put it out yet for good reason, so it'll be out soon. And now I'm working on Snooze at Our Spot, is what I'm calling it, which is a mashup between SZA's Snooze and also Willow Smith's Meet Me at Our Spot, which is a song from her group The Anxiety with Tyler Cole. I feel the need to say that just to, put respect on their name, and, give all the credit where credit is due, because I do that. And so I did a mashup of those two songs together, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I had that idea for a while. I finally did it. So now I'm going to work on harmonies and vocals. So that's what I'm going to be doing later on today. So it's going to be on the same platform on YouTube. I'm still going to live stream here. So I'll probably do that around, let's say, 5 o'clock Eastern time. So yeah, so be on the lookout for that. If you want to see me, you want to see my creative process and how I layer vocals and do harmonies and stuff like that, be sure to pop on through the live stream then, and we'll have a good musical time. And so you'll get to see my creative process and understand that, I do actually have some musical talent. So I don't just be like pulling these opinions out my ass. Like, oh, you talk all this stuff about this music, but you don't do that. I do. Actually, I am an artist. I am a creative, and I like to consider myself to be a skilled vocalist. Am I the best vocalist in the world? No. But I can be a little competitive sometimes because I used to play sports, so it's natural in me. Like, okay, I do have a competitive edge, but I love this music thing. I'm an artist. I'm a creative. I'm a songwriter, a vocalist. I play guitar. I style my projects. I do the creative direction on them as well. And I film, I edit, I do photography, I, put all that stuff together. So I do these reviews and these perspectives from the perspective of someone that's a creative, because I feel like artists are valid when they say like F a critic, especially if they don't do this music thing. And and I try to be wary about being too critical about stuff, because as an artist I know I can be sensitive about stuff too, but my perspectives come from the space of being an artist and understanding like, oh, this song is really dope, and if you listen into the harmonies in the background, this is really cool, because I do those things too, and I like to do them, and if I don't do it, I like to study it and work on it. So yeah, so it's not just me like being a critic of music and not having any musical talent. So if you want to check that out, um pop on through the live stream later on today, and I will be on there. I will be working on Snooze at Our Spot, and we'll have a good time. So that's all that I have for now. Follow the platforms. All my links are in the description. If you're watching on Kick, it's on my panels on my page. If you're watching on YouTube, like I said, it's in the description. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, and shout out to my new subscribers. I don't know who you all are, but I noticed my subscribers have gone up since me doing the live stream before. I think I was at like 172. I think I'm at like 170 more. Hold on, I'll get an exact number, and I'll say the exact numbers on here, so like when I do finally get monetized, I'll have that moment like, girl, remember when you was at 170 something subscribers and now you're at 100,000, 700,000 subscribers. And and everybody that betted against you and tried to shit on you and prove you wrong and do these little subliminal shady things, and it's like, oh, you're not gonna be nothing, you're not gonna do nothing. Well, watch me. Anyway, okay, so we got like 13 new subscribers all within the last month, because I hadn't been active for most of this year. So we back. Okay, it didn't go up that much, but 176. So one more person, we can have 177. And of course, like I said, my goal is to reach 1,000, because I would like to be monetized. I have bills to pay. I've been applying for jobs. Jobs don't want to hire me. I understand. I'm creative, opinionated. I work too hard. I don't know. Maybe that's a problem for people. Uh, you know, I take constructive criticism well, and I actually do the work to be better. Maybe people don't like that. I don't know. But in the meantime, while trying to find work and also like book gigs as an artist, because I am an artist. I am a performing artist. Um, in the meantime, I figured might as well build something that I can call my own. So that's why I'm more active on social media right now. And you'll be seeing more creative stuff from me and more music things. And hopefully we can get some performances in this summer and see how that goes. But again, like I said, like I mentioned in my live stream coming back here, I don't want to just be in every space. And I know when you're starting out, you got to like do the chitlin circuit and like be everywhere. But I'm not just anybody. So like, and I'm very protective with my energy. I want to make sure I'm in the right spaces. I want to be in spaces where people are welcoming. Just because you're invited, that don't mean you welcome. And that's the difference. And I know what that difference is. And and I understand like you have to win the audience and stuff like that, but my life and my circumstance is very peculiar and unique, so I can't move like how everybody moves, and I have to be intentional about the spaces that I'm in. And and also as an artist, like I like to perform different genres of music, as you see me doing these album breakdowns. Although I'm more familiar with R&B and soul and hip hop, there are some alternative artists that I'm familiar with. And because I play guitar, it's easier for me to dabble into different genres. And and I don't want, I know as like creatives, they say niche down and find your like sound. So as you're building, you're not confusing and you can figure out who your audience is. So I'm just trying to figure all that out. I'm independent. I run my own label. I'm an independent artist. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to like figure out what marketing myself is, but and then also developing as an artist, like because artist development isn't a thing anymore. But my development has been very displayed in all of its awkward, you know, phases. But here I am. I'm doing the best that I can. And and if you rock with it, if you enjoy that, please support the music. Stream Divine EP on all platforms. Purchase it. You could purchase it on my website. I know my website is currently down right now, but it will be back up soon. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. So if you want to purchase an EP, let me know. If you want to donate, my links are in the description. You could donate via Cash App, PayPal, um, and I would be very grateful for any support as an independent artist right now. And yeah, just because I'm not gonna lie, I'm in a rough spot. Even though you see me in this like vibrant mood, life isn't always easy. It's definitely has its challenges, and I'm doing the best that I can, trying to be a good human out here, trying to give back as best as I can with the limited resources that I have at this particular moment in time until my resources are limitless, and then I can limitlessly give back the way I want to. But I did recently deal with the passing of my father, which happened to be on my birthday, and it was like a wild moment. I was like upset. I don't know, like my grieving process has been weird, but I feel like my being frustrated about the situation has made grieving easier, because very like growing up I was very much like a daddy's girl. And I mean, we've had our rough moments earlier on in my childhood, but then I feel like at some point in my like teenage years and like young adulthood, I had like a better relationship with my father. And then like I kind of drifted away for a period of time when I was like kind of like, trying to discover myself as a like young 20-year-old, like dating and stuff like that. But ultimately, like I always loved my father, and I always cared to want to make him proud and protect him and fight for him against anybody. Um, and yeah, so it's a weird feeling and a weird space for me right now. And I think being angry makes it easier than missing him. But I do miss him. There's a part of me that misses like the young, naive version of our relationship when I was younger and naive, to the things of the world. And, you know, it, yeah, I don't know. It's a complicated thing. It's very complicated. But, yeah, so I'm dealing with that. I'm trying to find work. I'm trying to figure out what my living situation is going to be. I still want to be an artist. I still want to create. I still want to give back to my community. I still want to, like donate and volunteer and stuff like that, because I really care to do that kind of work. Even though I feel like sometimes my hometown don't deserve it, but because I am who I am, I'm going to find a way to contribute and give back anyway, because that's what in my heart of hearts, that's just how I am as a person. And but I know I'm in a season where I really need to focus on me and get my own stuff together. So this is me being a little vulnerable and honest. But yeah, it's an interesting season, and I'm just doing the best that I can. And if you want to support, you could donate. You can purchase the album. If you're interested in purchasing the album, let me know in the comments so I can like get the website back up, which it will be back up soon. It's just I'm dealing with financial stuff right now, and I'm a one woman show. And yeah, I'm doing the best I can. So I hope you were entertained by this video. I hope you all have a blessed and beautiful Memorial Day. If y'all at a cookout, if you hosting a cookout, or if you going to one later on, or if you home watching me because you ain't got no cookout to go to, or maybe you're in a different country, so you're not celebrating Memorial Day, whatever it is, I hope you were entertained by this. And of course, like I said, share your perspectives and the albums that you like. If I skipped the album that you were like, oh my god, this is a masterpiece, how do you not know this album? Well, let me know in the comments. Let me know what songs you like. Let me know what albums you rock with. Yeah, let me know, and share with somebody that you think would enjoy this vibe. and subscribe, like, comment, all the things. Okay, this is the end, and I'ma see y'all at the next live stream. All right, y'all. It's your girl Narice. Shout out to the village. I'll be back with Snooze at Our Spot